Yes. Well. Okay, another offensive coordinator off the board as for an interview, but this was a different type of interview for offensive coordinator. And, the Eagles got to take their sweet time with this process when it comes to OC and DC, but especially OC because this offense, for what it is on paper, needs to get right.
You better get ready. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So I want to go over some news for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, first bit of business here as we get through, the Eagles are doing their due diligence right now where you see that they're just bringing in guys for interviews. And one here, we've heard, obviously the names down the list and it still goes on. The football's still alive right now. Still got divisional playoffs, still got the Super Bowl. So there is a lot of time right now. We're going to get the Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni press conference, which we will talk about as well. But it looks like Kliff Kingsbury had a official interview with the Philadelphia Eagles with the offensive coordinator position. Okay, now Kliff Kingsbury has only had, I think, one other official interview, which was with the Bears. Which is interesting. But Kliff Kingsbury, okay, now from 2019 to 2022 as a head coach for the Arizona Cardinals wasn't fantastic. They think they've only had one playoff game and were completely destroyed in that game. But this is a guy that can open up an offense. Now, regarding the wide receivers, the tight ends, this man knows how to open up things, okay? You have to pick your poison with these OCs because every time if I talk about an OC, people say he's horrible or he doesn't run the ball enough or he doesn't know how to, he doesn't get guys in good positions to win football games with the wide receivers. And yes, the Eagles have to take their sweet time with this. Now, this could be a due diligence type of, move or at least a interview. But this was a virtual interview. This wasn't him coming to the NovaCare complex or anything like that. And I hate these types of interviews because I feel like, why do you have to have a quick, maybe they just want to get a feel for him, I guess, or something like that. I like the interviews where, the guy comes to the NovaCare, he walks around the facility, just get a feel for the place and maybe some of the players are there or something like that. I just feel like these virtual interviews don't really go anywhere. Just like when players go to meet teams and sometimes they have virtual meetings with teams, not even going to the complex or going to where they are. And I don't know, I just can't take it too seriously, but I will take this into account. So since this is an official type interview, that how much can I actually take this seriously? Okay, he has when it comes to the passing game, Kliff Kingsbury is very good at scheming, getting guys open, using middle of the field. He's done this whole entire career. He's even, coached Patrick Mahomes back in the day, so he's done some good things. As a head coach, not great. And we could take that into consideration. Matt Nagy, Chicago Bears head coach, goes to obviously goes to, KC as an offensive coordinator. And he always, Matt Nagy's been always a good coordinator. There's a lot of guys, Arthur Smith, another guy, became the Falcons head coach, hasn't really done well. But as the Titans OC for a few years, yeah, top 10 in passing, top 10 in rushing. Some of these guys just can't be head coaches. And this is probably one with Kliff Kingsbury where this is a pure example of he's just not up to the task when it comes to, I don't know. It's just I don't get why there's a lot of, when you're an offensive coordinator and you take the playbook within yourself, you have a lot of success if you're given that, potential power. And then usually when these guys become head coaches and still, even the guys that become head coaches and still call plays as a head coach, kind of doing the same job they did before, I feel like there's always butting heads. There's still things in the way. I feel like there's too many cooks in the kitchen when these successful coordinators become head coaches. For some reason, there's always somebody butting heads. And I feel like that might have happened with the Cardinals, but at the same time, I don't think they've signed the most perfect guys. I think they've had a lot of injuries, even when he was, he's had a quarterback problem even trying to re-sign Kyle Murray. I mean, there's been a lot of bumping heads between the players to the head coach to now, the front office, and maybe guys are, maybe some front office members were trying to butt heads with him on his play calling, and there was just a lot of a lot of dysfunction in Arizona when he was there. So I don't want to take too much into account with that. I think there's always, when you see these offensive coordinators go back to what they are really good at and don't have to control a whole team. I mean, just worry about one thing when you're in that room. And I think that's where he's going to flourish if he becomes the new offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, is he the best OC for the job? Yet to be seen, but it comes to a passing standpoint, interior routes, working middle of the field, getting guys open. There's got to be an OC out there that is hungry enough to say, holy shit, the Philadelphia Eagles, look what they have offensively. Obviously the Eagles don't have a wide receiver 3 right now. The Eagles are down at running back with no DeAndre Swift and going to free agency. So there are definitely a lot of options there, and the Eagles will have some money to spend, a little bit of it, to re-sign some guys and get this offense a lot stronger. But I think what comes into Kliff Kingsbury is, can he actually push Jalen Hurts to the next level? And that's kind of the next thing I want to go over. The backlash that Jalen Hurts has been getting as soon as he starts losing games, but not even just that, but look at the reports that came out the last week. I mean, there's reports coming out of that, his body language, and he wasn't there for the team, and all this selfishness that Jalen Hurts has, apparently. And then there's like all these reports about if the Eagles need to move on from Jalen Hurts, they could do it as long as this team could take on $44 million, and all this stupid bullshit is coming out, okay? I know there's Eagle fans out there that will literally duck through the coaching staff, go straight to Jalen Hurts and say it's all his fault, and 100%. Yeah, he had a really bad year. But what quarterback is going to survive in this system? With the leaks coming out, what quarterback is going to survive when Jalen Hurts says, hey, to Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson, hey, let's do some intermediate routes. Let's work middle of the field. Let's, change this offense a little bit. And when that happened, he was denied. Your franchise quarterback and Jalen Hurts has been denied any control, or at least it was a cry for help to say, hey, please, we need to fix this. And they just swept it under the rug and didn't do anything, where the leaks got bigger, and it was said that Brian Johnson, Nick Sirianni, and Jalen Hurts were never on the same page, or they were not on the same page as Jalen Hurts. So you have to take a lot of things into account. Yeah, a lot of turnovers. Yeah, a lot of bad decisions and throws. But look at the routes. Look at the route combinations. Look at how long things take to develop with this offense. You ran away from the RPO. You barely do shit under center. You're doing the same. You're not even running bubble screens or even running screens with running backs. You're using wide receivers the whole entire year. You're throwing bombs downfield on second, third, and short. Audibling out of a run to a pass, and Jalen Hurts making bad decisions. I mean, there's been a lot. And at this point, if Jalen Hurts is not getting changed, if you're on a team, it's easy just to be a fan and sit back, especially if you've played the game, you can understand a little bit. Once you start losing so many games the same way and things aren't changing, adjustments are being made, Hurts is just going to say, fuck it. I don't even give a shit anymore. If they're not going to change anything, I'm going to roll with the punches. However the chips may fall is where they fall. And that is it. I mean, there's only so much a player could take and deal with. And if you're asking for help and no one's going to help you, you're just going to play the way you're going to play. And that's it. You're not put into a good situation. No quarterback is going to survive in a fucking non-adjusting scheme like this one, where you have like a guaranteed, 10 plays, not even that, on your play sheet, and where your head coach has taken control over all of play calling and making Brian Johnson look like it's all his fault, which, he's pretty much been the scapegoat all year, as well as Sean Desai being fired, to take more, to take more blame off the offense, and Nick Sirianni making himself look stupid every single week. Where's the pushback from Howie Roseman? Was he fighting against Howie Roseman all year? I don't get how you could sit here, and look at the offense and with what you have to not score 35 plus 40 plus points. When you're going through this gauntlet and Jalen Hurts has to put the team on his shoulders in the second half of every single game, but these first halves look like a fucking replay every single week. and then you put your offense, you put your players into a bigger hole. And I got to say, without Jalen Hurts and maybe a couple stops from this defense in the fourth quarter, you wouldn't win football. You wouldn't win any football games without Jalen Hurts. It just wouldn't happen. And for the people that want him gone, I'm not on that train until if he plays like this next year, or if they hire the wrong guy, we know that Hurts is going to play even worse. I don't want the Brian Johnson I don't want the Brian Johnson of OCs that's too friendly with Jalen Hurts and there's no accountability. When's the last time you saw a coach? Last year, Nick Sirianni was yelling at players, and when they got to the sideline, even at Jalen Hurts when he made bad decisions. Did you see that at all this year? Did you ever see Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts in an altercation this year? Definitely not. Have you ever seen Matt Patricia or Sean Desai in an altercation with one of their defensive players for not tackling well? Definitely not. These guys are not holding each other accountable, and because the coaching staff's not listening to Jalen Hurts, or both sides of the football on offense and defense not listening to their players, you're setting these guys up to fail. And the more you do that, the more they're just not going to give a fuck, because I probably wouldn't either. I'd be like, hey, it's game day. I'm excited. Oh, we had a good week of practice, but practice is only going to get you so far until you get into an actual game. So not only does this decision for OC is the most important thing for your quarterback, we need someone to push Jalen Hurts, use him to his huge strengths that he has. Let Hurts get healthy so we can get his quickness and his speed back with that knee injury that blame the coaching staff for him getting hit so many times and QB drawing it every fucking play. So I can go on a rant about this. I could probably write a book on it. I could probably write a novel on it, and it will probably make millions of dollars. It'll probably be the #1 selling book that has ever come out on a football player in the United States. Okay. I'm just kidding. I was lying, but you know what I mean. Okay, because there's always so much to say. So the Eagles are doing their due diligence, and they're weighing out their options. Whether it's a meeting at the NovaCare, an interview at the NovaCare, or it's going to be a virtual meeting. Maybe Kliff. I don't get why Kliff just wouldn't come to the facility. I don't get that. I mean, there's so much time for him to come, so I don't get pause. But I don't know why. I don't get this whole situation with him and why it was virtual. It was just a quick 5-minute meeting. Like, all right, let's just fill this guy out and see what happens. But this is one of the biggest decisions. And it's really starting to feel right now that Nick is going to have no control over any of this. That's how it feels. Until we actually get two names, one name on both sides of the football and what the schemes are going to look like and who we hire, then we can start going to the players who would fit free agency-wise, draft, all that stuff. When it's kind of all the pieces start flowing together. As of right now, the Eagles can start working on reworking some contracts. Some contracts that are out there that, the Eagles might have to get rid of, some players that they might have to get rid of, and they have to make a change. Because now if the coordinators have actual control now, they might look at a player and be like, nah, I don't want this guy I don't want James Bradbury on my defense. We need to do something with him. Go to Howie Roseman. They collaboratively work out. They get something done. Howie has to somewhat agree with it. And, maybe not a fight back and forth, but at least, have a conversation, a dialogue back and forth with the GM and Jeffrey Lurie, obviously. So I feel like, they're not just going to come in. If they come in and nothing has changed with the roster, especially defensively, if they're not moving guys or trying to, then there's definitely some control there. But if there's definitely control from the front office and how I wrote, and they're not even letting Nick do anything. But these coordinators have got to be like, well, James Bradbury is not my type of guy. I need him gone. Oh yeah, we need to sign DeAndre Swift back. We need to try we need to see if we can get this done, because there's so many different things I want to use him in this. There's always ideas that these guys are going to have, So we're going to find out. Kliff Kingsbury, like I said, I think a better as a pure OC with full control. And some of these OCs that turn to head coaches, that just doesn't work out. I think there's too many guys are bumping heads, and I think they have a lot on their plate as head coaches. So we'll see what happens. It's only it's a time thing. Let me know what you guys think about Kliff Kingsbury, what he brings to the table. And like I said, all I think about with Kliff Kingsbury is passing game, is opening these wide receivers, these tight ends, and making your quarterback flourish, which he's done. He's had a very good reputation with quarterbacks in the past. As a head coach, not great. As a coordinator, fantastic. You guys let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Chicks, what up? Follow us. Peace out, guys. Base.